He hadn't planned to stay long. Mark slid into the corner booth of the small roadside diner, the kind of place where the neon buzzed even in daylight and the smell of old coffee clung to everything. He liked it that way, quiet, anonymous, predictable. After a long week on the road, he just wanted a simple dinner and the comfort of eating alone. He had barely opened the menu when the bell above the front door jingled. A woman stepped inside, holding the hand of a small boy, maybe 6, maybe 7, his clothes slightly too big, his hair messy as if they had rushed here. She paused at the entrance, scanning the diner with a nervous smile. Something about her was tense, almost apologetic, as though she wasn't sure she belonged here. Mark noticed she clutched a worn wallet, pressing it tightly against her chest. The boy tugged at her sleeve and whispered something. She bent down, whispering back, brushing the hair off his forehead, trying to smile for him. The waitress, Linda, walked over and greeted them softly. Mark overheard just enough to understand. The woman asked for a table but muttered something about budget, not sure how much, just something small. Linda offered a table with a gentle nod. But then the woman turned, and her eyes met Mark's. He froze, not in fear, but in that instinctive moment when you know someone is about to ask something that matters. She took a step forward. "Hi. I'm sorry," she said, her voice trembling. "My son's hungry, and we just needed a place to sit for a while. Would you mind if we stayed near you? Or maybe," she hesitated, sucking in a breath. "Maybe we could sit with you? It's just, he gets nervous eating alone with me in public." The boy hid slightly behind her, peeking at Mark with wide, tired eyes. Mark blinked, surprised. Nobody had ever asked him something like this. But something pulled at him, maybe the way the mother's hand shook, maybe the bruising exhaustion in her voice. "Yeah," Mark said softly. "Of course. Sit down." The boy shuffled into the booth, and the mother slid in next to him, offering Mark a grateful smile that looked like it had been held together for far too long. "I'm Sarah," she said. "And this is Evan." Linda came over with menus, shooting Mark a curious look but saying nothing. She sensed something delicate, something complicated. As they ordered, Mark noticed the mother watching every price on the menu, making quiet calculations. She ordered only a small soup for herself and asked if they could split a grilled cheese for the boy. Evan kept glancing at the larger meals on other tables, but didn't complain. Mark closed his menu slowly. "Hey, I'm pretty hungry," he said lightly. "Would you guys help me finish a bigger meal? I can never eat these portions alone." Sarah looked up, startled. "Oh, no, you don't have to." "It would help me," Mark insisted with a smile. There was a pause, long enough for him to see her pride fighting her desperation. Finally, she nodded. "Thank you." When the food arrived, burgers, fries, chicken tenders, soup, Evan's eyes lit up like someone had handed him a piece of childhood back. He ate carefully at first, glancing at his mother for permission, then devoured everything she placed in front of him. Mark watched silently, pretending not to notice the mother wiping a tear from the corner of her eye. "So," Mark said gently, "rough day?" She let out a short, broken laugh. "Rough month. Maybe rough year." She hesitated again. "We lost our apartment 2 weeks ago. I'm working nights stocking shelves, but the hours got cut. We've been staying at shelters, sometimes in the car." She covered her mouth. "I'm sorry. You didn't ask for all that." "It's okay," he said quietly. "Sometimes people need to be heard." The boy leaned against her, full now, fighting sleep. She stroked his hair, whispering, "It's okay, baby. We're okay." But something about the way she said it felt like she was trying to convince herself. Outside, the wind rattled the diner windows. Inside, Mark felt something shift, an uncomfortable, heavy sense of responsibility, like fate had dropped this moment into his lap on purpose. He paid the check before she noticed, handing Linda his card under the table. He returned before Sarah could say a word. When she realized what he'd done, she gasped. "No, Mark, please. That's too much. You don't even know us." "Maybe I don't need to know," he replied. "Maybe it's enough that you needed the help." She swallowed hard, pressing her hands to her lips. "People don't do this. Not anymore." "People should," he said simply. They walked toward the door together. The wind outside was cold, and Sarah wrapped her thin jacket around Evan. Mark hesitated, then reached into his pocket and pulled out the hotel keycard to his spare room, paid for by his company, empty for the week, unused. "I know this might sound strange," he said carefully, "but I'm staying at the Sunrise Inn down the road. They gave me a double room. One bed isn't even touched. If you need a warm place just for tonight, it's yours. I won't be there until late. You can lock the door, leave in the morning, no questions asked." She stared at the keycard, breathing quickly. "Mark, why? Why would you do all this?" He looked at the boy. "Because no kid should ever go to sleep cold or hungry. Not if I can help it." Tears streamed down her face. She covered her mouth again, shaking her head as if trying to hide her breaking heart. "Thank you," she whispered, voice cracking. "You have no idea what this means." She took the keycard with trembling hands. Evan hugged Mark suddenly, tightly, surprising them both. Mark placed a hand on the boy's back, feeling how small, how fragile, how human he was. As they walked toward the dark parking lot, Sarah turned back once more. "We won't forget this," she said. "Ever." Mark nodded, watching them disappear into the night. He didn't know what their tomorrow would look like. He didn't know if this one gesture would change anything or everything. But as he stood under the flickering diner sign, he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time: hope.